All praises to the Most High. We thank and praise the Most High, the Lord and Savior, Christ, Jesus Christ, and Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. We thank and praise Him for another day, allowing us to get on here and try to continue the work that we were doing with the video, the affidavit. This is part 3, and hopefully the final part 3. We want to continue to give the pages of the document, the affidavit, the sovereign Israelite. Actually, what it is, I want to say what the document is an affidavit declaring notice, giving notice to the powers that be, the colonizers, and all the agents for the colonizers. We're giving them notice, letting them know that we are woke. We are woke, okay? We are woke, and we are demanding, we're giving a demand that we won't go by those bywords anymore, okay? We're not going by the bywords. We understand the law. We understand what's right and wrong. We're not feeble-minded anymore. And we did the video about how they call us and declare us feeble-minded because we don't know right from wrong. Why is it that we don't know right from wrong? The Israelite camps, they preach it all the time. They're telling, they're reading it to you. The reason why we don't know right from wrong because we were discontinued from our heritage. And one sect of our heritage is the laws. And, you know, don't take it so hard because the rest of the world don't know right from wrong either. If, let's see, I want to get that in, let me get that in Wisdom of Solomon. We read it already, but I just want to read it for today. We're going to go into the Wisdom of Solomon, and we're going to show what the rest of the world, what their thinking is. You know, because they've decided, they've considered themselves the let's see, where did I get that? Let me pause this for a second. The Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd chapter, begin at the 1st verse. This is the wicked speaking. All the nations, they are in agreement. Remember that, Psalms 83, that all the nations are in agreement with the crafty counsel, with the crafty counsel and with the policies of Esau, right? I'm just going to say Esau, Idumea, okay? Because really the crafty counsel and all their policies are to keep us in captivity. They're designed to keep us, I don't care whether it's Russia, whether it's China, all the nations, you look at all the nations who are in power with nuclear weapons are the Edomite nations, Idumea. Now that didn't just happen. Why is it that we the Israelites and the Africans, the so-called Africans, Ham, we are older than the Edomite nations, right? So why is it that they have all the nukes and all the power and setting all the policies? That's because we lost our heritage. We sinned against God and went into idolatry, and we started worshiping the nation, so he put them over us, okay? But that don't mean they're right. Their thinking is not right. Their reasoning is not right. They turned the world upside down. They was trying to get rid of everything that reminded them of God. All of the the laws, all of the logic, the reasonable logic. They got rid of reasonable logic. You can tell by how they're, how they're falling now. Now, before, when they convinced everybody that they were going to build a rich nation, and this was the land of the free, the land of milk and honey, the land to fulfill all your dreams in, we call them the bearer of lights, the Statue of Liberty, Lucifer. This is Lucifer's nation, okay? So they were in charge, but don't mean they was thinking right. We know that God is the ultimate knowledge. The Most High, Yahweh, is the ultimate knowledge. He created this thing. He created the minds. He created the human brain. He created knowledge. He designed this movie. He designed it, right? He designed everything to go exactly like he planned it to go. He directed it. He's the producer. He's the writer. He's the producer. This is his movie. Okay? This is his creation, the whole thing. But the wicked decided that they were in power, and they wanted to grace us with their thinking. When they realized that God was in power, this is what they said, that this is what their conclusion to life and their rulership here on earth. This is their conclusion here. It says here in the 2nd chapter of Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not upright. Our life is short and tedious, and in death of a man there is no remedy, neither is there any man known to have returned from the grave. Okay, now he's talking about the heathen life, because we know, and that right there lets you know, and all you people, Christians, all you other atheists or whoever that say that we are not the Israelites, or there are some people, God has a new chosen people. Well, the heathens know. The heathens knew way back then that they were not God's chosen. They said that they wouldn't have it. They don't have a promise of eternal life. That's what they just said. That's what the leaders just said. That's what they were saying back then. They still say it. When this life is over, it's nothing else to look forward to. Ain't no God. Because they never knew God. Okay? But here's what they said about us. They said, it said the 11th verse. Let's go to the 11th verse. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 11. Let's go to 10. Let us oppress the poor and righteous men. They know we're righteous, and they know we're poor, right? Let us oppress the poor and righteous man. They know we're poor, and they know we're righteous. Let's keep that in mind. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence to the ancient gray hair and of age. Okay? Don't spare nobody. They're not sparing nobody when they oppress us. They're putting us all under oppression. Right? Now this is how they're doing it. It says, therefore let us lie wait. No, it says, the 11th verse says, let our strength be the law of justice. They're saying with their strength, they can enforce their own laws and their own justice. Right? But not only that, they are not the strongest people. They know that. They knew that. They've always known that, and they know it now. They know it now. Look at all the athletes. Look at everything they put us through, and we're still standing. They know they're not the strongest people. But they're not saying they're stronger than us. They're saying with the strength that they have over us. What is that? That's a lot of things. Like somebody said, it's not always physical strength. It's the mental dilemma, the mental, our state of mind. And they are stronger than us in the state of mind. Why? Because we've been cut off from right and wrong. We don't know right and wrong. We think that they can make laws and we have to follow them. That's crazy. If we don't believe that we're equal to them, we don't think we're better than them. They've convinced us that they're better than us and they have the right to make laws and we should follow them. We should, what's that word they use now? Comply. We should comply to their will. We should just do it. Then you wouldn't be getting killed on the street if you complied to what we tell you to do. What makes us think that they have the right to tell us what to do? What makes us think that they have jurisdiction over us? What makes us think that? I mean, one policeman, one slave catcher can come and make 50 men lay down on the ground. And we think he has the right to do it because why? Because he have declared himself as the lawgiver. He's convinced us that he's better than us, that he's our overseer. He's convinced us that God wanted us to be under him, which he did at one point. And he's convinced us that we're hopeless and helpless. And God, ain't no God coming for us. He's convinced us of that, right? But all through the Bible, God said, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. All these blessings will pursue you. You don't have to be under the torment of your enemy. We did it one time until we were destroyed. And then once we knew we could come back to these laws and commandments of the Most High, then we had faith that God would deliver us out of the lion's den. Right? We have faith that we could deny their will and reject their evil laws, and God will put us in the fiery furnace. We're in the fiery furnace, but he won't let the fire burn us. Right? Right? Because we know their laws are wrong. We know they're not thinking right. So whatever they tell us to do, we shouldn't do it. We shouldn't do it. We should have faith that God would deliver us from their wicked hands, even in captivity. Reject their laws. And how do we do that? Right now, we know we could either start a revolution and fight them back. That's not going to happen right now. But that's not the first step. The first step is to resist them and let them know that you have been revealed. You are not our God. We renounce you as God. We renounce you as governor over us. We put you on notice. We declare our independence from you. We're not asking you for it. We're saying we're not dependent on you anymore. That's going to take a lot of doing, man. That's going to take a lot of doing, right? We're going to have to get together. We're going to have to crowd together, man, to do that. And that's Bible prophecy, right? That's Bible prophecy. Okay, and just I want to finish this up to let you know what they're thinking about us. Another reason why we're caught in this dilemma. They understand us, what they've done to us. Don't say science and psychology don't work, because we're in this dilemma because they were able to critique their crafty counsel and watch us and stare at us and do things to us and experiment with us. Science comes with experiment, right? They experiment with us. They experimented our mental. And it's something called Stockholm Syndrome. They experimented with us like little children. They looked at us like little children, feeble-minded little children. Let's see. Okay, 11. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be worth nothing. Okay? That which is feeble is found to be worth nothing. They consider us feeble. And we ain't worth nothing. As long as we are feeble-minded, because we don't know the law. We don't know our rights. We don't know what we mean to the Most High. We don't know what it means to be a special people, chosen above all the people on the earth. And we don't know what it means to say when he said, I'm gonna give you this law, these laws, and they're gonna teach, and these laws are gonna teach you wisdom and knowledge and what it means to be right and what it means to be wrong, what it means to have a conscience, what it means not to have a conscience, what it means to be the righteous in authority, and the wicked ruling, and the people mourning. I'm gonna teach you all of that in the laws. And then he said, and the nations will look at you and say, man, this is a wise people. Because they know the law, they have the laws of God. They have the mind of God. They have the mind of the Most High. And whatever they think, if they're thinking like, let this mind be in you, which is in Christ Jesus, Yahweh shall say, I do nothing but what I hear my Father say. And that's the first 5 books of the law. First 5 books of the Bible is where the wisdom is what the right and the wrong, the do's and the don'ts are. Now, I learned that, but right as I was, I think in my 30s, the churches start letting, they started, I mean, certain denominations was off, Christianity was off, but the apostolics were holding out. The little churches, they were reading the first 5 books of the Bible, and they were saying that we have to be a difference from the Christians, from the so-called Catholics and all the other, Baptists. They called them the devil Christians. They called them devil Christians. And I happened to get in on the last end of that before they start letting the homosexual sect take over the music and take over and when they took over the music, that was it. Because the music brought people in. The young people start coming in with the musicians, shouting, dancing, and doing their dance and getting their shout on, and getting their praise on. And we know what else came with that. Sexual promiscuous came in with that. Lust, fornication came in with those people because they didn't have the Holy Spirit, because they didn't listen to the preacher. They would get up. I'm gonna tell you what they do. They get up after the choir sang. When the preacher started, which he wasn't talking about nothing, but back then, you'd have to go to Bible study to get your teachings. The preacher would get up the preacher got so he would get up just to make the people emotional, and so he could get a big offering. So it all went to hell, right? It all went to hell, man. It went from bad to worse. And so you couldn't, so then that was the last of the holdouts. And we all became feeble-minded, not knowing what was right and wrong. That's feeble-minded. Now Esau know, because he'd been reading the Bible. He knew when we first started, when we were keeping our laws, he understood what we were doing. Don't mean his heart was right. He didn't want to keep the laws. He never did. None of the nations did. They never wanted to keep the laws of God, right? They never wanted to be under subjection to the Israelites. But I remember when I first came into the truth, I was wondering. I wonder if these nations know who we are, and do they know that we are God's chosen people, and He raised us up to keep these laws, to teach them how to worship Him and teach them the minds of God. For the priest's lips shall keep knowledge. They seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. Did they know that? Did they know that? Yeah, they knew it. They knew who we were. They knew we were the people of God. They knew we were the people of the Most High God, the only God that had proved Himself to the earth. He proved Himself that He was the creator of the earth to all the people on the earth. But they still didn't want to be under his subjection, right? So in this, what I want to do here, what I'm trying to do by teaching our civics is I'm trying to teach us from another angle how special we are and what it means to be a special people, because we don't understand. Because they told us with their laws and with their strength to make us follow them into ungodliness with their policies and with their police and with their slave catchers and with their kidnapping and with their murdering and with their just taking the earth into eminent domain, ruling all over the earth, calling themselves the light bearers. And Isaiah, I think it's 14:28, says, when we see that little man, when the world is revealed, the devil is revealed, Lucifer is revealed, the light bearer of today is America and Idumea, their policies and their nuclear weapons. They have made themselves God over the people of the North. And when we see what they were holding us with, when we see that they were holding us with their policies and the few little men that they got to enforce that law and enforce their strength, all they got is guns. And they don't have enough men to run those guns, because we know those chariots can set them nukes and them guns and that eye in the sky. If they got satellites, those cameras, those chariots, and God can shut those down anytime. And it'll be man on man then. And they don't have enough people to whoop the rest of the earth. They're only 25% of the whole earth. Idumea is only 25% of the people on the earth. Now they have the terrorists working with them. Now that's another thing. They have the terrorists working with them to help them enforce these laws, because they are closer to us. You know, they're closer to us. In most of these countries where Israelites are, especially here in America, the terrorists are running the natural Israelites. Now we got speckled. Israel is a speckled nation, brown and black and white and light skin. Some almost looking white. We speckled. But we also have terror in there. That's what you would call a mixed nation, where the enemies of God has came and sowed babies into our nations. And they know who they are. They know who their father is, and they honor their fathers and their mothers. And they are working against us in secret with their fathers and mothers. Those are the tares. Now the wheat, we have some wheat. We have some Israelites that's working against us. Those 5 police that just beat that boy to death. That beat that young Israelite man to death. And they fired them right away. You know, they working against us. We got everybody's working against us, but based on the policies and the joining together with Esau. So with their laws, they are strengthened. When they convinced us that we're nothing. Now we say we need to make more laws, right? I'm saying no, we don't. A whole lot of us are saying no, we don't. They're saying we need to vote and get the right person in office. No, we don't. No, we do not. We do not need to be a part of their system based on the fact that we already have godly laws. We already have the common law. We already have the Peace and Friendship Treaty. We already have the Constitution. We already have the rights of indigenous people. These are human rights that make us all equal, right? They make us all equal. These equal. If they say, hey, we're not your enemy anymore, we don't owe you reparation and whatnot, because we're not your enemies, the world is set up equal. Everybody that work hard can get what they want, you know, can come to America and make it. Everybody but us. Everybody but us. We're in our own land. They tell you they brought us here. That's the first lie they told they use to hold us down. Because they don't want us to realize that we already have treaties and contracts set up to prevent these colonizers from treating us inhumane in our own land, right? We are sovereign citizens. They say we're feeble-minded because we miseducated the babies. And we raised these people from babies. After their ancestors died, the ancestors knew who we were. They are the ones that set the Constitution. They are the ones that made the treaties. The Northern Kingdom, which is not all light-skinned people, not the Native Americans, and they're not the Mexicans. No, they're not. And they're not the light-skinned people that's running the countries all down through Americas, all the islands, and running government. Those are Esau's bastard children set up. The people that are running the countries and doing Esau's bidding in Cuba and all those places, that he set those people up because he knew who they were. He never would have set Israelites up to run because he knew that they had a God conscience. Israelites have God conscience. The terrorists don't. He knew that the terrorists were his children. So they are different people. What did he tell Rebecca? Two nations are in your womb. They are made different in their hearts, which are their minds. They are made contrary to the laws of God. Okay? And we are contrary to them, to their laws, to them ruling over us. We're contrary to that. We think contrary to that. And when God wakes us up, when we begin to know who we are, that's why he sent the camps and the Israelites out to tell us who we were. Then we begin to think contrary to them. This is not right what you're doing. We were made for that. It's all in the wisdom of Solomon. I just closed the book. But it's all there. We're made different from them. That's why they knew to set the terror up, because they're just made different. In their mind and in their hearts, they have no conscience. They're cold-hearted beasts. Any one of Esau's seed, I don't care how much melanin he got in his skin, or she got in her skin, she's a beast. He's a beast, right? But the reason why we should get this affidavit written down, personal, every man should write it down. The Moors been having it. You see how strong the Moors have been, standing on their square knowing who they are? I've been trying to get this, but I've never got it in a package, all together in an affidavit package like this. I've made my declaration. I've disconnected from the United States government as far as who I pledge my allegiance to. I pledge my allegiance to the Most High. I'm not a part of their government. They would like for me to think that I am, but they in their Supreme Court, the Dred Scott case, it declares that none of us can be a citizen of the United States. No Moors, no black, no Indian, no Negro can be a part of the United States citizen. That's there, believe it or not. It's in this document. Now, we read 3 pages, and we're going to go ahead and begin and go into this fourth page. We're going to go ahead and start reading this 4th page, okay? And let's see. Okay. We're going to go over here because let's see. I want to put it up here and make it. Okay. This is the 4th page. We're going to go ahead and get you over here and start reading this. Now, go to the video, taking your nationality back Taking Your Identity Back, Part 2. And that we finished off on page 80, 89. This is page 90 in Taza Doc's book. All the other information, the book information is over there. This is the end at the top up here. It says the Amendment 5, Liberty Clause Amendment 9, Reservation of Rights of the People. The United States Department of Justice, Hebrew Israelite Credentials, Truth A1 classify the United States Copyright Certificate Number AA222141, Clock of Destiny, the Moorish Nationality and Identification Card, Moorish Holy Temple of the Moorish Science Temple Identification Card. These are documents. This is proof. This is proof how what the Moors have done to establish establish our identity. It's already been done. So that was the conclusion of page 89. Go back and look at the video. I'm not going to turn to it now, but go back and look at the video, the end of video, that part 2 on this series. And so we're going to go on down here. Furthermore, starting here. Furthermore, I assert. Now this is the affidavit. This is the declaration and proclamation. We're proclaiming to them that we are woke. We're not feeble-minded. We know what right and wrong is. This is what this document is saying to them. We know what right and wrong is. We are no longer calling ourselves by your bywords. You know, we know who we are. We know who you are, and we're standing on our square. And we're not gonna let you rule and govern over us anymore. Okay, we're disconnecting from you. We are declaring that we are no longer a part of your United States. Don't get scared. I know they say they got disability checks and bank. We got to use all that. They're not going to cut that off. They don't want us to disconnect from them. Trust me, because they're eating and feeding off of us. At the most, what they're going to do is either start a war, and that'll be the end of this world. That'll be the end of them. Or they're going to try, like this is a movement like the civil rights, like Martin Luther King when he gathered the people together. He was in the wrong though. He was trying to give reparations. We're not. We're disconnecting from them and saying we're going to trust in God for everything we need. And if they want to give us something, you guys take whatever they give us and buy stuff we can use to strengthen our nation, because that's what it's coming to. We're going to gather together. And if they don't give us nothing, God is still going to strengthen us by tearing them down. You know, either way it go, they're going to drive the nail in their coffin. Okay? Or either they can prolong. If I was them and wanted to be a good heathen nation, I would be like Rahab. I would say, let me help you and spare me when y'all come into y'all rulership. When y'all come into the land and rule, then spare me and my family. That's what they should be doing. They said, okay, if I was a police officer, I'd be saying, you know what? I am a good cop. I am a good person. I'm not like my racist white supremacist brothers. So I'm going to turn in all these. I'm going to help tear down my police department. I'm going to get all these crooks locked up. You know, I'm gonna turn states. I'm gonna bring evidence to where we can get these bad police off the force. If you got some good police, that's what y'all should be doing. But y'all can't do that because they will kill you. So therefore, there's no good police on the force, black or white. There's no good police because y'all all stand in fear and have no faith in God that y'all will not go up against them wicked police. So that makes you just as wicked, right? So what we're doing we're declaring that we're not a part of the nation. We don't think like you guys anymore. And so we need about 100 million people to stand up. To stand up and say they're not part of this nation no more. They're not thinking like that. They don't want to be rich in their riches. It's vanity. Everything they're doing is vanity. We are contrary to their laws, and they will not have jurisdiction over us. We're challenging their jurisdiction. And if that means we got to go to war with these people, then so what? We got the Most High on our side. We got chariots. We got the Most High. And plus, we're woke and a stronger people than them. That's not what we're saying we want to do. We want them to stop pretending they have jurisdiction over us and stop killing us and stopping us on traffic stops and go back to these treaties that we made with them to be living in peace on the same land. We're not trying to run you off the land. We're not trying to tear your government down for you, stop you from governing your people the way they want you to govern them. I don't think they want you to govern them like that. I don't think white people want to be your subjects. I think they want everybody to be free. So we're going to see how this turns out, because a lot of white people already know this right here. But, you know, they're waiting for the sons of God to rise back up again. Okay, so we do have some good other nations, some good nation that's going to cleave to us, nation people that's going to cleave to us, Gentiles, but they're not going to try to do it by themselves. But once we all declare our nationality back, the Israelites, then they're going to stand with us. Trust me. So this is what we should do right here. Furthermore, I assert my full birthrights. Assert my full birthrights. Your full birthright means you're equal. You have human rights, and you have the rights that your ancestors left you, because this is their land. And they passed it on spiritually and physically, although these people have stepped in and used their witchcraft and their enchantments to make us think that they brought us over here. But they didn't, and we know they didn't. Insert my full birthright, sovereignty, and substantive. That means basic human rights. We don't have that. They're not even giving us that, because why? Basic human rights said no man has jurisdiction over another man. Every state has the right to govern its own state, right? No other state, human person, can tell another human person how to, what his will, to follow his will, or I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take your land. That's what they did. So basic rights, sovereignty and substantive rights, and claim to hereditament. That's renounce. We're renouncing all the bywords and all the false titles. Hereditament. We're going back to the names of our people, of our ancestors, Israelites. You know, we did the contracts and everything under the Moors. We knew we were Israelites, but the Moors were in government in Morocco. So we wrote the treaties up. They wrote the treaties up, like Obama said. We gave them the right to be free from Britain. We gave them the right to come over here. The people whose name is on those treaties, and it's not the whole white race, it's not the whole African race, it's not all the Chinese. They don't have any signatures on those treaties. Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, those are a few presidents, a few governors. That's all that's supposed to be here. Now, how all you other people got on this land, y'all are aliens. We do not have a treaty with you guys. Y'all are aliens. Your name is not on these documents. You're not supposed to be here. Your family's not supposed to be here. Y'all are illegal aliens. Okay? Let's see. Sovereignty, substantive, basic human rights, and claim to our family names. Being in sundry free Hebrew Israelites and a natural being. We are natural beings because they got us as corporations through their birth certificate fraud. They got us as their citizens, dead in the water. We're corporations. Okay? That's the only way a corporation can hold jurisdiction over of people is they made those people as inanimate objects. They got us as corporations. That's why you have to say I'm a natural being. I'm a man. Men are free. Pursuing to. We are pursuing our Israelite, Hebrew Israelites pedigree. In pursuing to. Okay? The 1781 Organic United States Constitution Act, Union State Army, 1861, 1863. The 1854 Roman Catholic Charter, the Knights of Columbia Code, Ku Klux Klan Oath, the United States Nation Charter, Article 55C, the Rights of Indigenous People, Part 1, Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Part 2, Article 6, the United States Supreme Court Act of State, the Foreign Sovereign Immunities, Act 28. You can look all this up. Just look it up and see what it says. Act 28 USC 1601 CEQA, the Convention on International Road Traffic, Day 19, September 1949, the World Court Decision, the huge Netherlands, Day 21, January 1958 AD, 1378 MC, about the rights of the natural people and substantive God-given rights, basic human rights. The following are pertinent Supreme Court decisions, stare decisis. Now these laws, these rights and these laws that I'm about to read you is stare decisis. They cannot be removed. So they can't say, oh, those are old laws. Remember they said it's an old law. No, they can't be removed. It's stare decisis. It's set in stone. The Constitution is set in stone, right? The Peace and Friendship Treaty is set in stone. All these other treaties are set in stone that they made with our people. They made with our people, the Indian nations, the Northern Kingdom. They call them the 5 civilized tribes. The reason why they picked those tribes up and made them march out onto the Trail of Tears, they were trying to tell us that they killed all of the Native American Indians. They was trying, that was supposed to be proof that all the Native Americans was dead except for the few that they replaced, $5 Indians. They replaced them and said, okay, see, all the people that was here when we got here is just these few left. That's why I wish all you Israelite camps stop saying they killed 70 million people. It was over 300 million people on this land when they got here. Y'all killed all the Native American Indians. Now ain't nobody left but a few of them and a few of the Mexicans. They was here, Aztec, I met. Man, y'all crazy. Y'all saying we came from them people? The dark-skinned people came from the white-skinned people? Y'all crazy, man. Y'all falling into this. Dane Calloway and a lot of these other brothers, and there's still Native Americans on the land, the dark-skinned Native Americans, that are saying that their parents and their ancestors, like myself, passed down the information who we were. They held it in secret. We are not all Judah. The northern and the southern kingdom is mixed in this land. And we're not all white. And they're not all a cake unturned. That's not true. They're saying all the other nations, if they can't explain to you how, the way they explain it, they can't explain how the other tribes that came over here, all together, the Northern Kingdom came over here to North America. They can't explain how they got down on those islands. How they got in all those lands that they say they're at, which I believe the chart, the Israelite chart. Yeah, I believe the chart. I believe the chart. I believe it. But the way they are explaining it, they are letting the mulattoes explain it like Guerrilla Hebrew and all of those Israelites that's following him and following One West, following their teaching and their narrative. The knowledge will increase on the earth. They have not did their research. Now, I don't know why Guerrilla Hebrew. Now, he came through when he had to defend his position on the 12 tribe chart. When he had to explain that, he came through and said that Jacob is a spotted people. And he realized that some of the Mexicans and Native Americans, they decided to make the race. They didn't want to mate. They didn't want to keep mating with their people because they wanted a better life, and they knew the way to get Esau on their side and give them a better life is to turn their race white. And that happened. You can't say that didn't happen. Read Matthew's the 13th chapter. That's what the Most High Yahweh was trying to tell us that was happening back then. It was happening back then. The nations were sowing. They were sowing their seed into our race because they're heathens. We are different people. They knew they would have allies in our race to hold us, to split us and mix us and confuse us, to push us farther away from our gathering together. They read the Bible. They've been reading it before we was even woke. They was reading it. Now we got to stop these people from gathering. So they did everything. Jesus said that was one of the tricks that they're going to try, especially the Edomites in this land, because we would really be confused if they had some brown skinned looking people that look like us and would hang around us, but really when it came down to whose side they really gonna be on, it would be the Edomite side, because they are Edomites. They don't have a conscience. They don't have a heart for us. They hate us like the rest of the people. Now we've got some light skinned Native Americans and some light skinned Mexicans, Guatemalan, Latino people. We got some of them that are Israelites, and I guarantee you they cleave to their race, man. A lot of them cleave to their race more than the black Israelites do. And they're right here helping, they're right here teaching, they're right here learning, and they don't want to leave. They heard the truth and followed it. My sheep shall hear my voice. We ain't worried about them. We not taking nothing from them. And you don't hear them saying nothing about we wrong for trying to look. We gotta look and recognize who the terror is. Because they said while men slept, the enemy sowed terror among the weak. And said when we woke up, we saw the terror. So don't say you can't tell them apart. We can tell who the terror is, whether they brown or light skinned. Because they're not gonna be keeping the laws. They ain't gonna want to have nothing to do with God, and they're gonna be two-faced as hell, and they're gonna be all for Esau's. They're gonna be contrary to our laws. Now we got dark skin and light skin like that. So we got Japhet and we got Ham sold in our race. They sold in here too, but they are contrary to our turn. They don't want us to rise back up. They love Esau. So we can tell the terror. We know who the terror is. The spirit judges spirit. Okay? We know who they are. So, okay, so this document is stare decisis. These laws that I'm about to read to you are stare decisive. They cannot be reversed. So they can't say, oh, that was an old law. No, the Supreme Court is tainted now with white supremacists. We got to get rid of that Supreme Court, or we got to leave away from them and disconnect from them. We can't depend on their decision. What it's going to amount to is the Supreme Court is going to non and void these laws that are stare decisis. They're going to get in there and say, nah, we ain't paying that no attention no more. That's why Trump tried to beef up the white supremacists in the Supreme Court. And right now, even they got Clarence Thomas in there. He's married to an Edomite. And they went against the government, who's supposed to have they are supposed to be sworn an oath to protect us, to protect our human rights, which is in writing. These laws right here, this contract, Peace and Friendship Treaty, the Constitution, and the rights of indigenous people, these articles all say the same thing. They're all the same. You can look at them, you compare them, they're all saying the same thing. Let's read a few of them. The right to travel. Article 1. These are my notes. You don't write that down, but you're supposed to copy this document and keep it on you. And stop wrestling with the police. Talk nice to their so-called police when they come to kidnap you. And you show them these documents. Why? You're going to see in a minute. And if they want to lock you up, you go and say, sure, lock me up. You show them this you hand them this document. You let them know, you might have to say, hey, sir, what about this? I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying nothing about I know my rights, but I do know what these documents say is, are you right for doing this? Should you be? Okay, you say, okay. Oh, okay. You want me to shut up? Okay. But can I just give you this document? This is an affidavit where I disconnect my allegiance to you. Now, I'm no longer a citizen of the United States. So really, I don't think you have jurisdiction over me. Well, I'll go to court and argue with the judge. You're just doing your job. I understand, but I will have to. I want the judge to know that I showed you this, and you can look it up right now. You can Google it or call your superiors and say, "Is he right? Is this right? Is this right?" Okay. So you carry this document with you, and we need a sign. We need every one of us to sign a petition of this affidavit, declaring how many of us are not feeble-minded anymore. We are woke, and we're disconnecting from the byword. We're disconnecting for those bywords and those titles they gave us. You'll see no government has the right to declare your nationality. You'll see that in these laws. It's in the Constitution. It's everywhere. The right to travel. The right to mold a conveyance. The right to mold a conveyance. You can make your own conveyance. You can ride a scooter on the streets, and they can't make no laws and rules to tell you how to ride that scooter. The rights to locomotion are the absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of your right. Now, this is a case that already been argued, okay? State versus Amistad 60 S 778 779 781. I'm just going to keep reading. We're going to get through this. Now, y'all see that, right? The use of the highway for travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common and fundamental right of which the public and natural beings cannot be deprived of. This is a case that's already been decided. Chicago Motor Coach versus Chicago, 337 Illinois, 200, 169 Northeast, New England, 22, LAR, Laguerre versus Chicago, 139 Illinois, 4628 HE. That's probably a state. I don't know what it is, but just put it in there like that. 934 Boone versus Clark, 214. I want to say Southwest, but that's not it. That's a state. This is a state. 601, 25 AM, JUR, put it down like that. First Highway, Section 163. Okay? And that's they got those highway patrols out there. They don't have rights. They don't have jurisdiction. They have no right to be out there. The rights to park or travel is part of the liberty of which a natural person, citizen, cannot be deprived of. That's your human right. That's your constitutional right. That is your rights of indigenous people. The rights to park or travel is a part of your liberty, of which the natural person, citizen, cannot be deprived. Now, it says natural person, citizen. That means you're sovereign, your sovereignty. You're in your land, and no foreign nation has subject matter jurisdiction to rule or make a law to make this illegal for you. Okay? Deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment or of the United States Constitution. Kent versus Dual 357 U.S. 116 125. Now, even their citizens are privy to that right there. They're free citizens. The people that are here on their visa, white people's visa, they have privilege to this law. The rights of citizens to travel upon the public highway, even if you think you are a citizen, these are the rights if you're indigenous and in your proper person, which you will be after you have carried this affidavit and we declare who we are. We have to declare to them who we are because they think we're feeble and don't know, right? The rights of a citizen to travel upon the public highway to transport one's property thereof, either by carriage or automobile, is not a mere privilege. They don't give us they don't say that's a privilege to travel the highways, which a city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common right, God-given right, which he or she has under the rights of life, because we were born on the earth and they're not in control of that. Liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Thomas versus Smith, 154. That's a state. I can't think of it right now. 579. The common right. These are common rights. Well, I said that. I'm being redundant. State police power intends only to intimidate threat to public safety. State police power extend only to immediate threats to public safety. Immediate threat to public safety, health, welfare, etc. Michigan versus Duke, 266 U.S. 476 LDE at 449, which driving and speeding are not immediate threat to public safety, health, and welfare. California versus Farley, CD RPT 8920. California 3rd CA 3RD, that's the third, 1032 1971. Okay. The state is prohibited from violating substantive human rights. The state is prohibited from violating human rights. Owen versus City 445 U.S. 662 1980, and it cannot do by power, and it cannot do by one power, police power, that which is, for example, prohibited expressed to any other such power. Taxation, eminent domain. See what I mean? Eminent domain taxation. How can they do that? That's not being free. They don't have any jurisdiction over free men who are sovereign. How they gonna go in your land and make you pay them taxes? And we are free. They get their power from us. We don't agree to that. Okay? Eminent domain. They can't take your land and say we running the highway through. We're gonna give you half of what your land is, what your property is worth, and get the hell out of here because we're gonna run this highway through here. We're going to take your land, your farmland. They took all of our land and said, we killed the Indians. Y'all can't be the Indians. We killed them on the Trail of Tears. We had 20 million acres, 250,000 farms at the end of that so-called slavery. How did that so-called niggas get that land? Because those were our reservations that we were on. We were the Indians. Martin Luther King said it. Dane Calloway found it's called censor takers. They changed all of us into Negroes and put us in ghettos, called us the Jews. Now you the Jews, you the Jews. Here, go to ghettos. Like, that's what the Jews were calling where they live, the Jewish people in Russia. They call their neighborhoods the ghettos because, you know, they were trying to be us. Okay? All right. The state prohibits from violating God-given rights, substantive rights. Owns, okay, I read that. Police power, for example, expressive, especially to any other such power, taxation, eminent domain, as a matter of law, U.S. UT versus Dallas. That's a case. It's already been declared. 22P, 159, nor indirectly that which is prohibited to it directly. Fairbanks, U.S. 181, U.S. 283, 294, and 300. These are the sections you find there. Okay? All right. So we're going to move over here. We're going to move to this next page immediately. Let me see. Okay. We're going to move over to Article 7. Traveling in an automobile on a public road was not a threat to the public safety or health and constitution, no hazard to the public, and such a traveler owed no other duties to the public. He or she and his or her automobile having equal rights. The automobile you own have an equal right to and on the road highway as a horse. A horse that was they just had that video on YouTube where the police tried to run in front of the horse and make the man stop, and the horse clipped itself, and he was going to sue the police officer. That's against the law. But the horse got as much rights as a horse and a wagon, etc. This same right is still substantive, still is same right. The automobile, if you can ride a horse on the streets, now they're saying you can't ride a horse, but now it's the same. The horse and the car is the same, okay? Substantive rule in that speeding, running, stop signs, traveling without license plates or registration are not a threat to the public safety and thus are not arrestable offense. Christie versus Elliott, 2161, 131, 74E, HE, 1035, LAR, NS, 1905. Okay, you guys see it. You see it right there. So if a horse, you can't make a horse get a license, a driver's license to drive a horse. It's the same rights with a car. You can't make a horse stop on the stop. You don't have to stop on those stop signs. Those signs and stuff they put out there, they're good. They're good. They're good. But you know, when we shouldn't be running the signs, it's for safety reasons and stuff. But for them to come and have jurisdiction over you and make you pay a fine and everything, if you didn't cause anybody, you look and you didn't come to a complete stop and wasn't no traffic coming, he can't come and give you no ticket. You wasn't no threat to anybody's life and stuff like that. So he has no reason to even be out there. You'll see they have no reason to even stop us because, for one, they can't hold us in their courts because we're two different nations, like the Bible says. Okay, so you guys see that right there, Article 7. United States, Article 8, the United States Republic Constitution system of government and upon the individual and intelligence of the citizens, the state does not claim to control one's conduct to another, leaving one the sole judge as to all that affects oneself. That's Mugler versus Kansas. 1213 U.S. 623, 659, and 60. The state can't come in and say, hey, you know, you shouldn't have did that. You should have did this. He was right. He was wrong. You know, if you didn't violate or hurt anybody else's freedom. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They can't come in and say, well, you know, whatever it is. You didn't raise your kids right. I don't like the way you raise you holler at your son and stuff. You didn't harm that child. You know, it's a lot of stuff they doing, man, that they can't step in and tell you what to do. You just think about it. Just think about it. Let's go to 9. Let's go to 9. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rule making or legislation which would abrogate them. Okay, make you have to get a license or tell you can't do it because you don't have a license. They can't regulate you. Those rights by the Constitution. You know, Amanda versus Arizona, 38 for U.S. 436 125. The claim and exercise of constitutional right cannot be converted into a crime. Abrogate. You don't have to get a license. And if you don't get the license, you can't. Second Amendment. You have a right to protect yourself. They can't say, well, you got to get a license, what you call it when you're hiding your weapon. You can't cover your weapon up. It's concealed weapon. You got to get a concealed weapons license. No, they can't say, you know, you got to get a permit. No, that's a constitutional right, right? So it cannot be converted into a crime. Miller versus Kansas, 230 F 2nd 486 489. 11. For a crime to exist, there must be an injured party, right? You can't commit a crime against the state because the state is not human. You can't injure a piece of paper. The United States, any state in the United States, they cannot make rules. Why? Because they're not human. The state cannot make laws. You can't injure the law. You can't break a state law. A state cannot be injured. Now, you say, well, you got people that claim to be representatives of the state. A third party can't represent an injured party. A third party cannot represent an injured party. They have no jurisdiction. The state is not real. It only exists on paper. In the sky somewhere. Okay? The claim and exercise of constitutional right cannot be converted into a crime. Okay. For a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. Corpus delicti. Corpus delicti, right? There can be no sanction or penalty imposed on one because of this constitutional right. Shears versus Collin, 48 1 F 945. 481 F 945, right? There's no injured party. The injured party, you due process. The injured party got to swear out an affidavit showing how you injured. First, he's got to take it to a grand jury, and the grand jury got to decide if it has standing. So when you swear out an affidavit saying somebody injured you, you got to stand before the grand jury, and you got to have proof, evidence, witnesses, maybe witnesses, but evidence that that person injured you was beyond the shadow of a doubt, right? You got to have, and if it's civil, you got to have within a reasonable doubt, okay? And so a state can't do that. A state law can't do that. And they can't have a governor or a prosecutor representing the state. Third party can't represent an injured party. Okay? So when the state brings charges, you ask for it to be thrown away, thrown out. Because the state cannot bring injury. You challenge the judge's jurisdiction. If he ever tell you violate a state policy, you challenge his jurisdiction. And you got to learn how to do that too. We're going to be teaching that too. And you got to study and learn this stuff, man. Not to say that like they violate you all the time. You want to stay out of trouble and keep God's law so he can protect you. But if you ever find yourself in these situations, you know how to argue. Because the way that God will deliver you from this, they will come to their senses eventually when all of us are standing up on this law. The main thing is we all stand on this, and when they lock one of us up like this, then we have to represent our nation and go and stand before them courthouses, whether it be local. We have to bring so much attention to their violation of their oath of offices and of these contracts that they'll let us go. That's what we have to do, along with praying. And we can't do it for criminals. We can't stand with criminals. Only thing we can do is make sure that they have a jury of their peers, make sure they have the right evidence, and to make sure if the person's guilty, then the person, you guilty. God judging you. If you guilty and they catch you, God judging you. But now, we're trying to bring relief to the people that they are violating, and we're trying to stop them from governing over us, and we're trying to wake our people up and let them realize that we are a special people, and God already had these laws in place. He wouldn't have left us out here in the hands of them damn politicians, our black politicians, and have us voting for a system that is against us. These laws, these are our laws right here. Okay, if number 12, if any tribunal court finds absence of proof of jurisdiction, did you hear that? They got to prove their jurisdiction. Once you question their jurisdiction, they got to prove that they have jurisdiction over you, over a person and subject matter. The subject, only way they can have jurisdiction is you got to be a part of their citizenship. You got to ask them to rule over you. If you claim to be another nation, that's why this is so important. We claiming we're another nation, so they can't have subject matter jurisdiction over us, because we're declaring that we're not those same people that they call feeble-minded. We are woke, and we know that they are not government. They are human like we are. And if you read the Clarefield document, they're not human. They're mere citizens. They're not government. Even, I don't care who said they appointed them or where they got their charter from, they're not government because they lost their privilege when they made money. When they declared gold illegal and made money, $1, they became mere citizens. And whenever they violate their oath of office, they become tyrants. They become treasonous. When they violate their right to protect us under this, they vacate their seat wherever it is. Okay? If a tribune, that is a court, finds absent of proof of jurisdiction, they can't show jurisdiction over a person and subject matter, the case must be dismissed. Did you hear that? Louisville versus Motley, 211 U.S. 149 229S CT 42. Accuser bears the burden of proof. Accusers bear the burden of proof. You hear that? Ain't that what we preach all the time as Israelites? Prove it. Prove it. You say this, you say what? You say I broke the law, prove it. Accusers bear the burden of proof beyond the reasonable doubt. Beyond the reasonable doubt. Okay, 13. Lack of federal jurisdiction cannot be wavered or overcome by agreement of parties. Lack of federal jurisdiction cannot be wavered or overcome by agreement of party. I can't agree to give my inalienable rights away. I can't agree to you having jurisdiction over me. So that what they're saying, you can't. What they're saying, even if I accidentally don't know who I am, and fall into your jurisdiction, the United States, you can't take jurisdiction over me. You got to send me back to my proper status. You got to put me back in my proper status. You got to explain to me we can't rule over this because you are an Israelite, and then you have to follow these laws, and you've broken none of our laws, and we can't rule over you. Now, what we can do, if you got a court somewhere, if we got some people that come up here and say, hey, we want to use y'all court system to rule over this man, he violated me, then we can take you to civil court and say, okay, well, we want to use our legal system because y'all know we not set up as a government. We can't govern ourselves yet. But we want to use y'all system with our juries. We want your judge. We want the judge to sit in because he know the rights, right? We want him to set in so it could be legal, so the rest of the world can say it's legal. But we want our own jury and our own grand jury. And the people have to agree, okay, you killed my brother, we ain't gonna take it out on like that, but we can't have him on the streets. We want to use y'all jail system. They'll have to do it. Why? Because they really work for us. They are saying they in our land, using our court system, using our buildings. That's all our resources. Those are our resources. So if they want to really be right and help us and help weed out what they did, what they put in our land, the riffraff, then we can use them to do that. We can use them, right? Okay? Beyond a reasonable doubt. Lack of federal jurisdiction cannot be waived or overcome by agreement of parties. The two parties, we got to be judged under federal jurisdiction, under our laws, Constitution, human rights. We can't ask Esau to judge somebody wickedly because we hate them. Griffin versus Matthew, 310 F. Sparra, 341, 342, 1969. And want of jurisdiction may not be cured by consent of parties. Industrial Edition Association, read that. Versus CIR 323 US 310, 313. Okay. Legal lawful procedures. We're just about at the end here. I think I got a couple more pages. Whereas, considering the following jurisprudence, stare decisis, Supreme Court decision, facts and laws, and counter to the negative, colorable social condition instituted by state persons of the United States society, there exists a blatant want of jurisdiction on the part of the Union State, right, Republic, USA, its agents, personnel, contractors, and assigns exime are legally enforced under national and international. Legally enforced under national and international. They have no jurisdiction. I think that's what it's saying. Legal procedure, jurisprudence, stare decisis. That means the law has already been decided. The courts have to stare decisis. Courts are obligated to follow historic case rulings on similar cases. Cases without similar scenarios. Cases with similar scenarios and facts binds courts to follow legal precedent set by previous decisions. Okay, so these laws and cases that we have just read It binds the Supreme Court and everybody else that try to bring these charges and try to operate like this. The precedent set with these cases forces the other courts to act in the same way, to rule in the same way. So they're all still in effect, right? All of this is still in effect. All of this is still in effect. All the treaties, Constitution, Peace and Friendship Treaty. Okay, let's go to the next section here. This is page 92. National laws attending these issues, and the affidavit, natural persons, improper persona, does not waive any rights. This is the end of the petition now. We're going to the end of it here. Does not waive any of these issues. And this affidavit, natural person, improper persona, does not waive any rights, does not transfer power of attorney, does not willingly consent to any public trial or hearing in any callable tribune, vineyard, nor or non-Article 3 court. Constitutional jurisdiction. That's what we're talking about, constitutional jurisdiction. The official oath and obligation of the fiduciary duties of all accusers and bound claimants to national law and order. Civilization principles fixed in constitutional law still stand. Definition and truth still rules. Non-compliance is a federal and international offense. Okay? So in other words, even if we don't know who we are, they are under federal obligations and they have broken the law because they tried us in their tribune courts, in their admiralty courts, military tribunal and their admiralty courts. They tried us illegally knowing that they were doing it. Plea bargains, tried us under their citizen state, under their false UCC codes. They tried us like that. That's why they don't want to come back to this, because some of them, those prosecutors and stuff, are still living. And the penalty for this stuff, you're about to see what the penalty is for them doing that, and they're still living. That's why they're fighting us so hard, man, because they are still living. Those judges, those bankers, those prosecutors, those police officers, they violated, and some of them are going to be sentenced to death. Some of them going to be sentenced to death. Maybe not by us, but when the Most High come back, that's why he said he got to kill a lot of them. Christ, Yahweh coming back stumping and killing and cutting off heads. Because they're going to still, the ones that's violating us is still here. And they haven't stopped. They continue to fight for stolen. They continue to be known beneficiaries of a crime. They're holding stolen goods. They're holding the system in place that terrorized us and genocide us and held God's captive people. They still fighting against God. They're going to be fighting against Yahweh when he comes, and he got to kill them. He got to destroy them. Why? Because they already know this law right here. They know, they agreed to this, that if they violate us as humans, which they have done, they cut us off, they held us too long. When their ancestors died, they should have released us from them Jim Crow's laws. Jeremiah 50, 33, Ezekiel 36. Is that 36? They held us too long. They held us too long, and they continue to hold us with these laws. This is their strength right here, because they can't whoop us. But they're using this system to hold us, and their laws is their strength against us because we don't know. We're feeble-minded. They admitted to that. They admitted that they feeble-minded. This is how y'all do it. Let me read a little bit more of this. Let me read a little bit more of this. I want to read this Wisdom of Solomon to you, so to show you they had a plan, and the reason why they had the plan like it was. I'm gonna read the 12. It said, let me read 11 first. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be worth nothing. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. He is clean contrary to our doing. He upbraideth us with our offenses, offending the law. He objected to our infamy and transgression with our education. See, so they knew. They knew we were feeble-minded. They knew they had miseducated. They knew about the system that their forefathers set up to hold us in captivity. They still vote for their senators to hold us down to make laws and policies. Every one of them vote. They're all guilty. He's made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us. He professes to have the knowledge of God, and he calls himself a child of God. They know who we are. All of these people have read this. They know. That's why they stick together. Ethnocentrism is so strong. The cohesiveness with those people is strong. They all bind together to hold this in place. They are all guilty. They are all as guilty as their forefathers. He was made to reprove our thoughts. We were made to rebuke and correct them. We were made. See, they admitting it out of their mouth. We don't know who we are, but they know who we are. Our total existence, our very existence, it brings them into condemnation. What do you call that word? Convicts them. Just looking at us convicts them that they are the wicked. These people, they have these laws, and look what we've done to them. Let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep doing drugs and pretend like nothing happened. Okay? Let's just keep on getting high. Let's keep drinking. Let's keep doing our wickedness and pretend that nothing never happens. And just hopefully there ain't no God. We got rid of him. Okay? So, yeah. It says, we get back here. It says, definition and truth still rules. They know the truth, it rules. The definition of this law, what they were supposed to do, these treaties, God gave them. He gave them these contracts to say, okay, y'all got them. Y'all people died. Okay, the slave masters died. Y'all cut these people loose, took them out of the chains. Now we got these laws to set it up so y'all won't keep violating them and y'all won't have to get charged with this crime when Christ comes back. But did they do it? No, they held us too long. They held us. I'm telling you, we are the slave. If you keep them laws and come back and stand back up and realize who you are and stand against the evildoers, how are we going to stand? We're going to declare who we are. We're going to declare these laws right here. We're going to declare, hey, y'all breaking what y'all promised the Most High. They promised to the Most High. They promised the Most High that they would not violate us. And you think all of them that voted for that wicked system, they don't have a right to die, man? Come on, man. They don't have a right to go and feel what that same slavery they keeping us under. They don't have a right. That's wrong for them. Fast change ain't no robbery. What my uncles always told me. Fast change ain't no robbery. You know, fair exchange is not a robbery. But no, they going to tell you just forget about it. No, we can forget about it. But God ain't going to let us forget about it. He ain't going to let you forget about it because he's reminding you that you got these treaties. You promised an oath that you would not be like your forefathers. But did you do it? No. No, you broke it. He said right here, he said definition of truth still rules. Non-compliance is a federal and international law offense. This is federal and international when they broke them laws on them highways. When they broke them laws and shot us and killed us. You're going to see, I ain't through reading yet. I'm getting excited, man. You're going to see what they really done. These laws was in place for when we wake up God, he didn't abandon us. He had separation rules here. He separated us. He meant for us to stay separated. Even when we woke up, he told them, hey, don't violate, and I'm waking them up now. They said, okay, they signed these treaties. Their forefathers said, now, we signed them treaties, but we broke 4,000 of them. So y'all just remember what you're here for. Remember, you're here to take the resources out of their land and to hold these people in captivity so we can live all over the earth lavishly, so we can keep Esau's blessings. We're going to steal Jacob's blessing and turn Esau's blessings into Jacob's blessings, right? He made me give up. Jacob tricked me. I sold him my birthright, but he knew I was just playing, so I'm gonna kill him and take it back. That's what he said. He said, as soon as my father died, I'm gonna kill Jacob. That's what he said, man. And all his descendants have that perpetual hate, and they're keeping up with their fathers. That's why they got to be the devils. They are the deceivers, because they saw this law, they signed these treaties. God gave them, he let them go ahead and rule until Christ come back. He said, now y'all just don't mistreat them. You don't hold them in captivity. Let them go ahead and put their nation back together so they can start following me again. Same thing he told Pharaoh. What Pharaoh did the same thing. He said, okay, y'all can go. But he came and chased us down and got drowned in the Red Sea, right? And that's the way his army got drowned in the Red Sea. That's the same way God is about to do these people, their army, their strongholds. He's about to show y'all that he is God, and you can't fool and trick him. You were supposed to keep these laws. Definition of the truth still rules. You know the truth. You know what these laws say. You know what I just read. You know you don't have jurisdiction over the people. You know you weren't supposed to take all the resources and put us in the rat-infested ghettos, take eminent domain, redline our districts, kill us, put biological warfare on us, put these diseases and stuff on us, drugs in our neighborhood, violence. We only committing violence because y'all got us to eat fighting over crumbs. Right? That's the only reason we fighting like this. You genocide us. He said, he told y'all, do not do this because it's going to force them to genocide each other. You're going to have the effect that they got now is a scientific effect, a scientific result. They studied this, how to keep these people bound and make them the worst people on the earth. Since they say they got a God and they say they are the best people and God is their father, we're going to prove them with torture. Read Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd chapter. Read the whole chapter. He said, we're going to see what they made on. We're going to torture them to see if they got patience, if they got a God. If he be their God, why he letting us torture them like that? They got to pay, man. They doing this to God. Whereas, right here, whereas there is no question that a bench appearance, summons, definition, arrest, or ticket, or citation issued by the police officer or others for traveling with no driver's license, foreign driver's license, not having current registration, motor, mandatory insurance, which carries a fine or jail time, is a penalty or sanction and is indeed converting a right into a crime, right? You cannot abrogate our constitutional right. You cannot convert our constitutional right, God-given right, substantive right, into a crime. They did it. They keep doing it. They do it every day, thus violating substantive rights, human rights. It is reasonable to assume that these Supreme Court judicial decisions are straight and to the point, that there is no lawful method for government to put restriction and limitations on rights belonging to people. There's no reason why they should be doing it, because they know the law. They know about these treaties. They know about these God-given rights. And they have no, and there's no reason. God said, ain't no reason y'all should hold these people like this after I'm trying to wake them up and bring them back. Y'all making it harder because y'all are greedy dogs, greedy devils that want to hold them down. So instead of y'all saying, okay, let's go ahead and get this earth back to the Most High because He did give us, He gonna spare us. He gonna let us give us 1,000 years. He's gonna give us 1,000 years, and who know the mercy of God? He might just forgive us altogether, since we raised it, we let Him out of it at the end. But God knew you weren't gonna do that. Predestinated according to His foreknowledge of you. He know who you are. He made you like that. But you know how you say, well, if He made me like that, why He gonna punish me? Because He made you like that, because He didn't chastise you. He didn't chastise you. We would still be as wicked as hell if He didn't chastise us. But He didn't chastise you because you said you didn't want to have nothing to do with His laws and rules. He didn't chastise you. You didn't want to have nothing to do with Him, Esau, Idumea, Ham, Japheth. You didn't want to have nothing to do with it. Y'all went into council with each other and said, let's hide these people. Let's cut them out from being a nation. Let's take their right to exist on the earth away from them. God's chosen people? Really? That's your best thinking? That's your best thinking? Man, y'all crazy as hell. Converting a right into a crime, thus violating their substantive rights. It is reasonable to assume that these Supreme Court's judicial decisions are straight and to the point, that there is no lawful method for governments to put restrictions or limitations on the rights belonging to the people. There's no reason why they should have done that. They're just pure wicked. They're the devils on the earth. That the organic United States Republic Constitution derives from ancient Moabite. That Constitution, I told you, that's our Constitution, man. I be trying to tell y'all that's our Constitution. They could never have come up with a Constitution, a common law Constitution that would protect the people. They would have never. You giving them too much credit. They would never come up with something like this, man. That was us. We took that law from not from the color of law, not to benefit us, but to benefit everybody. To stop the fighting, stop the killing. So we took the moral laws and converted them into the Constitution. Real nicely, fit real nicely. The ancient Moabites. They saying Moabites, but we know the Moabites didn't have nothing to do with it because the Moabites wasn't even around then. They were dead. They were over in captivity themselves by the Chinese when this was written. So these Moors, this is what the Moors came up with, the Moabites. The Moabites had nothing to do with this. The Moabites they was over there being beat up, eating rat by the Chinese, right? The Chinese and the Japanese took over the Moabites' country. Those are not Moabites. When you look and say the Chinese or the Moabites, no, they are in the Moabites' land, ruling over them. They are Edomites. And all of those other mixed, light-skinned Orientals. The Japanese, Ammon. That's not Ammon, that's the Japanese, man. They did exactly what all these other nations did. They whited the people out and pushed them in the back. They just didn't mate with them no more. They just didn't mate with them. So no, they're not a mixed race. They just are not, they're not the people, they're Edomites. Y'all crazy, man. Okay. The rights belong to the people. The organic United States, Moabite, let's go down here again. Moorish law. Moorish law. That was the Israelites coming from Europe. That's the Moorish law right there. They was ruling over there and they brought their same rule over here, Constitution, they brought it over here. Remains the supreme court of the land, supreme law of the land, the Moorish laws, which are the God-given rights. They could never think of no laws like that, man. They would never agree to that. The colonies and whoever those men were that signed these treaties with the Moors, with the Israelites, they would not have never rolled out. You see what they first chance they got, they violated all these constitutions and these treaties, they violated their oath of office. They would have never agreed to that. The Supreme Court law of the land and all the treaties which shall be made, which was made and shall be made under the authority of the United States flag of peace pursuant to the United States Code, Title 4, Chapter 1, any law that is repugnant, conflict with, to the Constitution shall remain, any law that is repugnant, in conflict with the Constitution, shall remain forever colorable. That means it's not been, it violates the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, so it is non and void. It's non and void. And what did it say? Marbury and Madison. Stare decisis. Marbury and Madison. It's already been decided. It's non and void. All the UCC codes are non and void. They go against the Constitution. All of these state laws are non and void. Walmart stopping and searching your bags at the store after you done paid for it without a search warrant, non and void. You can sue them for that. Okay? Non and void. Every policy that they made that violates your, every agent that violates your Constitution right with their policies, store policies or whatever, non and void. That means you can sue. You can sue them, bring legal actions against them. Maybe Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. 137, 174, 176, 1803. Any municipal officer, person, personnel, employee, or contractor who violates the rights of the people or citizens are subject to suit. Did you hear what I just said? In their personal and official capacity. So the police, they're making a law saying we can't sue the police, non and void. Non and void. But we all got to stand up and go in there and stand before them courthouses and make them file them lawsuits. We can file the lawsuits, but we got to make them enforce them by protesting in front of their house, in front of their houses, in front of their offices. You know, they can't even come to work unless they come in to file that lawsuit and drag that police in there. Right? They got to send that petition out. Okay. Title 18. Title 18. Part 1. Chapter 1. Chapter 13. 241 of the United States Code of Law. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district in a free exercise or enjoyment of any rights or privileges, while we enjoying our privileges and not violating anybody in their country, in enjoyment of any rights and privileges secured to him by the Constitution. The Constitution is supposed, they stand oath of office to make sure none of their citizens violate us while we're moving and traveling free. If they, or laws of the United States, if they make any laws, or because of having so exercised the same, if two or more persons go in disguise on the highway, put on uniforms, acting like they got jurisdiction over us, or on the premises of another, come on your property, walk down our streets where they have no business in our ghettos, walk the premises of another with the intent to prevent or hinder, kidnap us, hinder us, stop us from walking. Stop, let me talk to you. His free exercise or enjoyment of any rights or privileges so secured. Okay? They shall be fined under title of imprisoned not more than 10 years. And that's just because they stop you and they say, hey, now what you doing? Why are you walking this way? What you doing? Stop, let me talk to you. If they detain you, 10 years, that's a fine of imprisonment under 10 years. They violate your privilege to be free and walk and you have to stop and you have to subject yourself to their will. That's 10 years. Okay? Okay? 10 years. Or both. Let me see. A fine. Okay. Shall be fined under this title. These are the titles. Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13. Okay? United States Code, U.S. law. Shall be fined or imprisoned, not more than 10 years, or both. Or they can be hit with both. It depends on what we want from how severe and how violent it was. And if death results from the act committed or violation of this section, or if such article include kidnapping or the attempt to kidnap, aggravate sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit, aggravate sexual abuse, or an attempt to kill, they shall be fined under this title or imprisonment for any term of years or for life. You can throw the book at me and give them anything, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or a natural life. If they do any kind of attempt to, if they attempt to do it, or if death, it said a life or both, or may be sentenced to death, or they could be sentenced to death. If they accidentally kill you or willingly kill you, you can recommend what you want. It's depending on how severe it is. The public can recommend the fate of that person or those persons. All right. Y'all see where we coming from now? I'm gonna move over to the next page here. Okay. I'm gonna have to go through all of this again, man. I didn't even cut that back on. I'm gonna have to go through all this again. Okay. National law intended these issues and this infinite natural person in proper persona does not waiver rights. We don't waiver our rights. Does not transfer power of attorney. Does not willingly consent to any public trial or hearing in any callable tribune, venue, or non-Article 3 courts. All the courts they tried us in were not Article 3 courts, and they know they wasn't supposed to take us in any other court. Unconstitutional jurisdiction, we do not waiver or even though we don't know, they're not supposed to do it. Not supposed to take us in those venues and use those laws against us. The official oath and obligation of the fiduciary duties of all the accusers and bound claimants to national law and order, civilization principles fixed in constitutional law still stands. Definition. Y'all see the word. And truth. Definition and truth still rules. Definition and truth still rules. Okay? Non-compliant is a federal and international law offense. So, them knowing who we are, they know this law. They knew this. When they did everything they did to us, they knew. They knew what they were doing. That's why God have to come back and try them like they were their fathers, because they held this system in place to destroy us and hold us in their political, social, and economic captivity like their parents instructed them. And they voted for this system to stay in place every 4 years and every 2 years. And they came out and voted and kept us in the darkness. They went in our schools and miseducated our students, our kids. They worked on those boards and made policies and to hold us in captivity. So they got to be tried just like their fathers with the sentence of their parents. What's the scripture I'm trying to keep? Their parents left them holding the bill for the iniquities of their fathers. For the iniquities of their fathers. They got to pay for the iniquities of their fathers. Why? Because they continued the work of their fathers. They knew what they were doing. They knew they were hiding the crime from us. The crime, a wicked crime. They are participant in the crime. They are conspirators to the crime. And they got a nerve to say they're going to charge us with sadistic conspiracy for talking against their government. Those are just threats. Those are threats to keep us from finding out what they did and how guilty they are, right? They are guilty of what their fathers done because they continue to do it. And they all voted for the system. Every one of them will tell you they go out and vote to hold ethnocentric, cohesive ideals in place. They all believe the same way. Okay? Whereas there is no question that a bench appearance, summons, detention, arrest, and ticket or citation issued by police officers or others for traveling with no driver's license, foreign driver's license, not having current registration or mandatory insurance, which carries a fine or jail time, is a penalty or sanction and is indeed converting a right into a crime. They are taking our constitutional rights and telling us if we don't do what they mandate for us to do to be able to keep those rights, then we're going to get put in jail or fined or killed or whatever. If we don't comply to what they say, then we can't keep our constitutional right. They're setting up toll bridges for our constitutional rights, and they're making us pay and jump through hoops. Okay? Converting our rights into a crime, thus violating substantive right, God-given rights, violating our God-given rights, human rights. It is reasonable to assume that the Supreme Court judicial decision are straight and to the point that there is no lawful method for governments to put restrictions and limitations on rights belonging to people. They're not supposed to do that. All their laws say we gotta get a license to do this, a license to do that. We can't do this, we can't do that. They had no right to do that. None of that. Because they are subjecting us to their will when we have the right to travel and move and do what we need to do for our neighborhoods, our security teams, our government. We have a right to do that from God. So they're taking our God-given rights. That's it. That the organic United States Republic Constitution derives from ancient Moabites. Now, the Moabites are not the Moabites. The Moabites was in captivity the same time we were when they made this treaty. The Moabites was under subjection to China. Chinese are Edomites. Japanese are Edomites. Russians are Edomites. They lost their country. Africans, Egyptians, they're Edomite. They're under Edomites' control. Right? So the Moabites didn't do nothing. They're talking about the Moorish laws, the Israelites, who they're calling, these Moabs, who these Moorish people are calling. They say they're Moabs, and that's who they try to say we are. That's the confusion right there. But when they said that, because when they came over here and set this up, that's where they ruled from over there too. So you know, and the Europeans kept it going, so they just went under disguise. But right here, we go on farther. It said Moorish law, Israelite law. This was the Israelites that ruled in the Dark Ages. They trying to hide the Dark Ages when they say Moabites. But the Israelites law, the Moorish law, remains the supreme law of the land. The treaty, all the treaties made or which shall be made after this Constitution, those treaties made under the authority of the United States flag of peace, which was the Moorish flag. That's the real flag, United States flag, the red flag with the green star in it. Pursued under the United States Code, Title 4. That's when they claim to be following the Constitution and going to make sure everybody, they're going to set their government up. Since we don't know who we are, they're going to, Abraham Lincoln was supposed to, the Freeman's Bureau was supposed to educate us to who we were and all the laws, because they had George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, right? That was the Moorish government, and they took over. So Abraham Lincoln, supposedly, when he freed, he was supposed to set up the Freeman's Bureau and set us back up as our own government. So they killed him and started their own government, right? So under that idea, Title 4, Chapter 1, any law that is repugnant to the Constitution, against the Constitution, shall remain colorable and is null and void. Mayberry versus Madison, 5 U.S. 137, 174, 176. That's in 1803, right? Who set that up? Abraham Lincoln, or whoever was in office at that time. It was the Union was coming in, right? And these were treaties made because they wanted to stop the fighting. You know, they wanted us to fight with them. They wanted to stop the fighting. They had went through hell of a war. They went through wars, man. They had went through. They was going through it. Revolutionary War. We was fighting on both sides, man. So they didn't want to keep fighting with us, so they said we'll trick them. You know this was a trick. 1803. Any municipal officer, personnel, employee, or contractors who violated the rights of the people or citizens are subject to suit in their personal and official capacity. That's a writ. Okay. Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, 241 of the United States Code of Law. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district in a free exercise, in the free exercise or enjoyment of any rights or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or law of the United States, or because of his having so exercised the same, or if two or more persons go in disguise, highway police on the highway, talking about in uniform, saying they got jurisdiction over us, or on the premises of another with an intent on private property. They shot that boy on private property in his grandmother's driveway. They supposed to be put to death, a sentence of death. The police here in Indianapolis, right? On premises of another, in the intent to prevent or hinder his free exercise. He had a gun in his lap. They just automatically knew that he was going to shoot them. So they shot, and then they didn't kill him, but we ain't heard no more about it. Exercise or enjoyment of any right or privileges so secured, they shall be fined under this title, Title 18, under this title, or imprisoned not more than 10 years. Now this is just them violating them. 10 years or both, fine, or both 10 years. They can get them both. And if death result from the act committed in violating this section, or if such acts include kidnapping or the attempt of kidnapping, aggravated sexual abuse, or the attempt of committing aggravated sexual abuse, or the attempt to kill, and they shall be fined under this title, or in prison for any term of years, for something like that, right? Any term of years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or life, with no parole, or both, or be sentenced to death. They can be sentenced to death. Title 13, Part 1, Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 13, 242 of the United States Code of Law. Now, I cut it off last time. I'm not going to cut it off this time. I'm just going to move it over. Okay? Okay. Referring to U.S. citizens' penalties for violating oath of office. Whoever under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subject any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to deprivation of any right, privilege, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or law of the United States, the Constitution or any law by the United States. Now, they got some laws that protect us. They help protect us. Some of the amendments, right? Law, or to different punishments, paying penalties on account of such persons being an alien, locking those people in cages down there, their kids, when they try to come over here back to their land. Haiti's tried to come back. You see, they roll them down on horses and knock their food out their hands. They stop you at the border, call you an alien, right? That's against those people's constitutional right, because they took them from here. They took those people from here. Being aliens, or by reason of his color, they don't let the dark skinned ones in, right? And so that ought to tell you something about some of these terrorists that's ruling down in them lands. Them light skin, real light skin with blue eyes, right? Calling themselves after the land, right? Race that are prescribed for the citizen, such as shall be fined under the title or in prison not more than 1 year, or both. When they stop you and stop you from keeping your rights, they can give you a year and a fine. And if bodily injury result from the act of committed in violation, acts committed in the violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempt to use, or threaten you with a dangerous weapon. They pull them weapons on you and hold them at your car and hold you in detention. You see what they supposed to be getting just for pulling that weapon on you? Violation of this section, or if such include attempt to use, threat, or use a dangerous weapon, explosive, or fire, such be fined under this title. You should be fined under this title. In prison, not more than 10 years. They're supposed to get at least 10 years. Should get 10 years for putting them weapons on you, because it give you PTSD the rest of your life. Okay. Attempt to use threat, dangerous weapon, while they're in prison, not more than 10 years, or both, and may be sentenced to death. Injury comes if they injure a sovereign citizen, they can be put to death, because they ain't supposed to be over here. They ain't supposed to be on the police force. They ain't supposed to be the dangerous, violent people that's going to hurt you. Ain't supposed to be on their police force. They ain't supposed to be in them jails as bailiffs. They're not supposed to be prosecutors to violate your rights and give you all that time and don't even go to court, make you take a plea bargain, threaten you with time if you don't take that plea bargain. That's conspiracy, and that's wrong. Right? Okay. You see why they don't want us to come together and learn this stuff? Because they are still living. And they have committed these hideous crimes against us. Okay? Okay. Therefore, in preservation of rights of indigenous people and the preservation of the rights of the people according to the defense of the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America and its Republican form of government being the Supreme Court of the law of the land and primal to the contractual liabilities, oath, bonds, obligation, fiduciary duties of the official, of the officers of the court, federal, state, city, municipal, I hereby demand the enforcement of the de jure law, the real law, not the de facto UCC codes, but the real law of the United States. Now, we are the United States, right? We the people are the United States, not those geographical locations. Not them things they set up and draw lines on a map. Those are not United States. We are the people. We are the states, and we are united together. That's what we're doing. We're uniting back together as the Israelites. We are the United States. The jure law of the United States and all the treaties made under the authority of the United States according to the Article 6 of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Rights of the Child. Look it up. The Declaration of the Rights of the Child and see what it says. The rights of indigenous people, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United States Center, the United Nations Charter, Article 55C, the United States Supreme Court, Acts of the State, Foreign Sovereign Immunities. We have foreign and sovereign immunities to their taxation, natural resources. Oh man, it's so much. Act 28 USC 1601, CEQA, the Convention on International Road Traffic, Day 19 September 1949, the World's Court decision, Hugh, Netherlands, Day 21 January 1958 AD, 1378 MC, exclusive R13 107, United States Republic, North America, implementation of human rights treaties, National Constitution of the Continental United States, Article 3 Courts, Section 2, Article 3, Section 2, Amendment 5, Liberty Clause, Freedom Clause Amendment. Let's see, is that 9? Amendment 9, etc. I hereby demand a dismissal. I demand a dismissal of all of any and all unconstitutional sanctions, claims, and other warrants or charges made or issued which are devoid of true identity, personage, a denial of due process of trial by a jury of my own national peers. We've never had a jury of our own peers. That means no foreign nation set. No foreign nation should be set in any of our trials. Grand jury or regular jury of 12 should always be of our own people, colored people, Israelites, black people, okay, of our own national peers, or absent of a verified and lawful indictment verified and lawful indictment. We've never had a verified and lawful indictment. In all of these plea bargains, that was the state. They are non and void. The state cannot bring charges against you saying you injured them. You injured the law, a statute of the state. There's no such thing of a jurisdiction with a statute. And you know, a statutory jurisdiction, right? There's no such thing. You can't injure a piece of paper. A piece of paper is what's you call it? A dead object, standing still, dead. You know what I'm trying to say? Inanimate object, inanimate object. It's dead. It can't feel. It can't have pain. You can't injure it. It can't stand before you and explain and describe to you how you injured it, right? Because we're in our proper person. We are humans, okay? And no third person can stand and represent an injured party. The injured party got to come and represent itself and describe how you injured it and bring evidence, okay? So, national peers verify, indicate our grand jury. We assembled a grand jury. We never had a grand jury assembled of our own peers. And that I be availed all lawful constitution, secured safeguards established by the supreme law. With this documentation, proper jurisdiction and venue confirmed in its place. So you see what's got to happen. We demand it. Wherefore all parties of interest are authorized by this writ pursuant to national and international law to honor all God-given rights, substantive rights, and constitutional immunities reserved for and to this aboriginal, indigenous, free and sovereign Hebrew Israelite. All officials are to enlist all available and appropriate measures to assure that all my substantive rights and constitutional rights, security, and immunities are not violated, not breached, nor abridged. The sovereign natural being named here is not to be arrested nor held in detention under any culpable circumstances. You can't say we broke any state law, any county law. If it's not the Constitution, if we didn't violate the laws of the Constitution, then it's no law. We govern ourselves. You have no jurisdiction over us, right? Okay. No culpable circumstances. You are notified. The active minister of the Aboriginal Indigenous Moorish Nation, Moorish National, Israelite National of the territory, organic land, natural person named here is non-obligatory and thus exempt from customs, taxation. Natural person named here in is non-obligatory taxation. Owner in free permit deception. Owner in fee permit deceptions, constructs and from any other hindrance are restricted of his or her freedoms, allodial properties, compensation rights of travel, or freedom of movement on, in, or within any member or non-member state of the United States Union. Wherever they say their territory, they have no jurisdiction and can't tell us to follow their UCC laws, right? Union. The Hebrew Israelites, bearers of the indigenous people, bearers of this indigenous people's document, is to be treated with all due respect, due process rights under the law, the common law, the Constitution, peace and friendship treaty, rights of indigenous people. They're all the same. All available and appropriate measures are to be taken to prevent injustice, harm, false arrest, trumped up charges, or attacks on natural being, person, property, personality, conveyance, freedom, and dignities. Explicit and use of all rights reserved without prejudice. That means we can contract with you guys. We can do business with you. We can get insurance. And then we still don't, that's still not pulling us under your jurisdiction. We're still not giving up our rights. We renounce ourselves from your obligations that you obligated us to because we didn't know good, right, and wrong. We didn't know who we are. We didn't know who we were and who we are. Without prejudice to the UCC codes, we can go use some of your codes and stuff, some of that, the stuff you done written up in contract. Ain't nothing but contract. And is noted to all federal, state, city, and municipal peace officers in harmony with the United States and we're going to go to the next page. Okay. And indicate the reservation of my rights. Hereby, I may reserve my substantive rights, human rights, God-given rights, and constitutional secure rights and immunities to not to be compelled to perform under any contract or agreement that I have not entered in knowingly, voluntarily, willingly, or unintentionally. I do not accept any actual or implied liabilities associated with any compelled benefits of any revealed or deception imposed commercial contract. So if just because I work for you and you got Social Security set up and you took out Social Security and now I go try to get it back and you send it to me at the post office through the post office system, now I'm back under your jurisdiction. No, that's a bunch of crap that they use. With this document, you already declared that none of those tricks are applicable to you. You're never going back under their jurisdiction because you can't be a U.S. citizen based on Dred Scott and the Constitution. You can never be their citizen because you have unalienable rights. You are sovereign to them. Why would you take privileges for some money? Okay? So, and not compelled to perform under contract or agree that I have not entered knowingly. Okay, I do not accept any actual or implied liabilities associated with compelled benefits or any unrevealed or deception imposed commercial contract. I furthermore do not sanction any unconstitutional rules or policies nor acts of imprisonment committed by any United States government or state official at any level, claimed by any of them in the name of the United States Republican, nor do I assent to any implied colorable policy made by alleged representatives as being sanctioned by the people and citizens considered any formally assumed construct alleged to be related to me as being misrepresentative, and thusly cured. Forthwith, let it be known. Let it be known. Forthwith, let it be known that I'm never going to give up my God-given rights for privileges you say I got to pay you for. Nothing. I'm never coming back under any of your jurisdiction. I'm never submitting to your will again based on this contract right here, based on this affidavit of injury. And we've proven that you've injured us. We've proven that we are a sovereign people. And we've proven that we are awake. And we're never going to agree to any of that stuff that you had us under. We never did agree to it. We were unknown that you was looking at it like that. So there was no meeting the minds of the contract. All right. Let it be known forthwith. And so right here, represent means to depict, to portray, to symbolize, and to stand for. Let it be known that the Union, State, Society, Bar Association, lawyer, esquire, and attorney of the European colonies descend and foreign corporations cannot depict, portray, or symbolize a free Moor. They can't work for us. They can't represent us. They can't portray us. They can't act for us, as they are not of the same national jurisdiction, customs, nor national peers, and cannot sit in judgment of any free Moor. They cannot sit and judge us. Their courts cannot judge us based on their UCC codes. State, act of state. Europeans are not indigenous to this land. They are not Americans. How can they just sit in judgment of us and come and make us keep their laws? Because they did it by trickery, right? We will sleep. We will sleep. Hebrew Israelites are aboriginals. United States lawyers and attorneys operate in demo political format, which is contrary to the Article 4 courts, Section 4 of the Constitution. For the United States, Hebrew Israelites operate in a Republican form of government. Then ain't that what we've been telling you? We're not democratic. With Roland Martins and all of them, they want us to fall under their wire, man. They got to be getting paid handsomely. And they not telling you. They act like they trying to start news stations and stuff. But the more they try to get us to vote, they getting paid handsomely for that. To try to lure us back into that system. To keep us from coming this way. The Republican form of government conjoined with autonomy principles. Being in harmony with the Constitution, Hebrew Israelites respect Constitution principles, and unconstitutional tribunes operate under the United States society, conflict with, and is repugnant to due process. They don't give you due process, right? They're repugnant. They're against it. Due process. Yeah, the United States conflict with due process, our due process. Innocent till proven guilty. Jurisdiction. It got to be a 3D court. Yeah, it's got to be a Title 4 court. Peers, jury of our own peers, grand jury of our own peers, and the law got to be Constitution. The Constitution. They have no laws to judge us under. The unconstitutional tribunal operate under, okay, and they are repugnant to due process under remedy, and is availed to the natural people of the land through such colorable processes, UCC codes. They make those laws to go against us, right? Right. That's why they never try their own people with those laws and the same penalties of it. Colorable processes. These violating acts constitute a conflict of interest, a conflict of law, and clearly establish the federal question. They're not constitutional. diversity of citizenship. How can one nation judge over another nation in their own land? We in our own land. How can they come here, aliens, and judge us in our own land over some laws that they made here to hold us to gentrify us? Right? That's ridiculous. God, that's why they got to be destroyed, man. Conflict of interest, conflict of law. Federal question. Diversity of citizenship, conflict of identity. They saying we somebody else that we're not. Conflict of identity. They stole our identity. And of nationality. They said that they were us. And they put some more people and said they killed us and we were somebody else they brought here. Thus, a clear advertisement of jurisdiction is also hereby proclaimed and advanced. Only Hebrew Israelites can present and depict themselves as being Hebrew Israelites and aboriginal indigenous of this land. Thus, only Hebrew Israelites can present themselves. That's it right there, y'all. That's the affidavits. Y'all got to type that up. Y'all got to teach that. Y'all got to preach that. We got to properly indict them when they come for us. When they come for us, they properly indicted. They're going to pretend like they didn't know. But we properly indict them. They can't stand before the Most High. They already knew this. Plus, we telling them this. We know who we are. We didn't give them power over us. They took it from kids. They are molesters. They're predators on children. They raised us to be defeated. They preyed on the children. They preyed on children. You hear what I'm saying? They are the predators of children. They are the predators of children, man. They raped children. That's something. Okay, so that's it. Now, you got to buy the book. It's got a lot of stuff in it. This is a quick version of it right here. This is all you need. Really, this is all you need right here. But to make a long story short, you use these last pages here and just for your wallet or something like that. But this page right here, this whole affidavit is a total indictment of them and what they did to us. All right, and the laws that's already set in place. If you teach these to your people, it's going to wake them up. It's going to give them more firepower out there on the streets to help wake up the people, to let them know that legally, according to the real law, we are not under their jurisdiction, and they're not supposed to be ruling over us. Not only that, when you start filing these lawsuits, when they violate you, and you start filing, show them the law that they made, that you can file the police and charge whatever system that's in place. Is saying that the Supreme Court made a law where you can't sue the police for only they can handle their police. No, that's not law. That's not the real law, man. It's right here. It's stare decisis. It's already been settled in court that they can get sued and get death for the death they caused. They're not just going to get a few years. We want death. When they kill one of our people, we want them to die. We want the full penalties of the law, man. Because the only way we're going to stop them. That's what we got to start enforcing, man. We got to start enforcing this, and we got to let them know we know about this and let them know that this is what they're supposed to be following. If not, they are their fathers, and they are the devils. Okay? They can't say it's some good police. Y'all not following this law. The whole system is corrupt. You're not following this. This is the real law. The whole system is corrupt. Right? The whole system is corrupt. The whole system is corrupt. You're not following this law, man. If y'all can't get those pages, I'll try to get you some clear pages, but that should be pretty clear. That should be pretty clear, man. Those pages, just type that out, use it for your personal use, and somebody should have this online, man, where people should be signing it, man. You should be signing. All you Israelites bragging about how big your camp is and how many people you got. All your people should be signing this affidavit as one people. This is how we gather back together as one nation, man. If your people and your leaders ain't doing this, man, then they bullcrapping y'all, man. Because this plane is out here now. You can look it up. You can take this to your bishops. And if they won't go along with this, it's because they afraid they're going to have to pay all them taxes back, 501c3. They bullcrapping y'all if they don't do this, man. And them groups that ain't already did it, they trying to hold on to that money. They got the money to pay them taxes for them donations and stuff. Really, if they do this, they don't have to. They won't be under the United States jurisdiction. They can do this and become not obligated to anything, any of the UCC codes. But they got to gather the people up first. So we got to stand in solidarity as one, as a people. As long as we striding along, some following, rolling more than and this politician and that politician, they're going to keep us divided and pretend like they don't hear us. But once we stand under this, and y'all said we ain't got to stand. Yes, we do. We got our laws. The Israelites got their laws. Now, this is the agreement that they have to keep to say they're not holding us in captivity and that we are a free nation here. If they violate this, then they're violating us. They are responsible. It ain't what their forefathers are doing, it's what they are doing. See? So if all the good white people and the good police don't come back to this, to their oath of office, and stand for this, then they all do the punishment that God is about to put on them. Once you show your people that how guilty these people are, and all of them are guilty of this, then these people will wake up. Your Israelite brothers will wake up. They'll have something to unite behind. You'll wake them up. I know y'all gonna, I don't care. Use it, man. Get it. Pretend like you wrote it out. You ain't even got to show them this video. I'm tired of this stuff, man. I'm ready for their nation to end, man. I'm ready for the end to come to these people, man. Because looking at this show me how much they violate us intentionally. It ain't happenstance. It ain't some of them know and some of them don't. They all are cohesive to this, man. Like the Bible said, David knew. All the prophets knew, man. They was doing it back then. Y'all need to wake the hell up, man. If your leaders, that's why God probably going to have to round some of these Israelites up, man. Y'all still teaching that they took the Native Americans' land and this and that, and they all, man, come on, man. Y'all better get out here and teach us, as God gonna lock y'all ass up and put some new, it's some bad prophets coming out now, man. It's some dudes that's bringing that smoke right out there on the streets, man. They indicting these people when they come up acting like, this is the reason y'all teaching, hey, this is the reason why we separated. No, this is the damn reason why we separated. Y'all violating us. Y'all coming in our land. There's some prophets telling them straight off the bat, get in your rich car and go back to your rich home. Your shit is about to be over. This is why we separated. Y'all come back to this laws, man. Come back to this righteousness. I don't care if you white or black or whoever you. If you come back to righteousness, God might give you a chance, man. But if not, you through. Your ass is through. Black and white. Keep out there playing around, leading our people the wrong way. Because you Israelite prophets that won't come back to this and won't wake the people up to tell them, show them who they are, and get the foot of this man off their neck, y'all leading us wrong too. Y'all not uniting, man. Cussing Christians out and stuff. Them people been in them churches a lot of them trying to follow God. All they know. Now y'all cussing them out and calling them devils, man. They not going to come back and follow y'all, and y'all don't even know where the hell y'all going. Talking about, I was here once before. I met one of the old prophets. Man, y'all don't know who the hell you are, man. You don't know who you are. Talking about we don't know who, people don't know, y'all don't know your nationality. You don't know who you are, nigga. Man, y'all need to come get off of that fame shit y'all on with YouTube and clothing lines and I'm the biggest group out here. I ain't drinking and getting high. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody. You need to get on and gather these people up, man. If not, God gonna take y'all down, man.